Today I'm in Notre Dame de Briançon, which is a strange place. There's basically nothing here, but I'm here because I've been to ride up the Col de Madeleine. Indeed, all going to plan. Should hopefully be riding over it twice. So this is the start of the climb if you're doing the col from the north and approaching from the Meteor direction. You can start the climb at another village a little further along the valley if you're approaching from the Albertville direction, but it's much of muchness just for the first few hundred metres. Yeah, basically straight into it from the valley floor. So you start off with a nice easy 5% for the first kilometre, just to get you warmed up. Then you're straight into a series of tight, steep hairpins. The second kilometre being the steepest of the whole climb, actually at over 11%. Although, as you can probably see now, this section is almost flat, which means in reality it's going to be a lot steeper than 11% when it starts actually climbing. So it's going to be a tough old start when I actually get onto that steep pitch. Now it's getting steep. The first part of this kilometre was not steep at all. Lulls into a false sense of security. So the tour first came over the Col de Madeleine in 1969, I think, which is quite a late start for a fairly major Tour de France route, but that's largely in part because the road wasn't built yet. I think the road actually opened in the early 70s, so the first couple of times I went over must have just been on gravel tracks. Since then, it's been over 27 times in total, so quite the tour regular now. And it was last passed in 2020, a stage that was run by Richard Carapaz, still at Team Sky or Ineos at the time. So if you look at it on a map and in profile, it's an incredibly satisfying climb, because it forms an almost perfect line north-south. It's pretty rare for the roads on both sides of the col to line up almost perfectly like this. Also highly symmetrical as well. Slightly longer and less steep from the north, but not by much. So from the north, the climb's just over 25 kilometres long. I think the average gradient's around about 6.8%. Let's call it 7. Start elevation is just over 400 metres, depending exactly where you start, and it tops out at just under 2,000 metres, so that's around 1,600 metres of total gain, but it's actually a bit more than that because there's a slight downhill from this side, around halfway up. So yeah, it's a long old climb. About 6 kilometres in, that's the first sight of the col, just up there, I assume. So the first segment of the climb, you're climbing pretty steeply on those tight hairpins up from the lower Val d'Isère into this, which is the hanging valley which leads you up to the col now. So that was probably the last hairpin for a while that we just went round back there. There's largely a straight winding road to the col now, even when there's a little bit of down. So this little village of Villard-Soffray is around about 1,000 metres elevation, so another 1,000 metres of climbing to go from here. So still a long way, but you feel like you made some good progress already because you climbed steeply initially. From here it's actually quite flat for a few kilometres. So this is around halfway up the climb now in terms of distance, 12.5 kilometres to go. And after about 3 kilometres of flat or even slightly downhill, back into steady climbing again, kind of 5-6%. Nothing too drastic. Yeah, a few hairpins thrown in for good measure as well, but still climbing gradually towards the col. The road surface is in need of a bit of a TLC here, but then it's been 3 years since the tour came through. I imagine they're waiting for the next instalment of the tour to come through before they resurface it again. Could be next year, who knows. Ten kilometres to go now on the home straight. At 8 kilometres to go, there's a 10% kilometre here, which I think is the second steepest kilometre of the whole climb. Well, there might be a couple of other 10% ones in this segment as well. But yeah, it's definitely a climb of two halves, this one. Split with a long flat in the middle. I'm in my smallest gear now. Definitely starting to feel the heat. It's mid-afternoon. Luckily, it's late September, so the sun's not that strong. But still, it's hot enough. 25 degrees in the lower valley. I really like road riding this time of year. So much quieter. I've only seen 3 other cyclists all day and there's barely any cars. A month ago this would have been really, really busy. It's a fairly major through road. Certainly makes it a lot more enjoyable when there's no traffic on the roads. Still, January, September, the weather's still pretty good. Although Facebook reminded me that this time 3 years ago there was a foot of snow in Chamonix and we all went skiing up at the Tour. So it's a time of huge contrast, but more often than not get a lovely Indian summer just like now. Just as I thought, here comes another 10% kilometre at 4 kilometres to go. But yeah, definitely getting close to the top now. Almost see it. Just round the next bend. Another 10% kilometre. The sting in the tail of the day. There she is up there. So there we have it, the Col de Madeleine from the north at 2,000 metres, or just slightly over 2,000 metres up here now. From this side it's a really beautiful climb, really rustic and untouched. And the valley over to the other side is Valmoral, which is a fairly big ski resort, and down that way you've got Francois de Longchamp, which again, a fairly big ski resort, but tourist infrastructure's barely touched this valley at all. Very much retains its rustic agricultural charm. Just a couple of ski lifts that just about come down into the top of the valley so you can link over, but you barely notice them. Other than that, it's just you and the cows. And the dog. Random bit of trivia for you. France's smallest and lowest elevation glacier is just the other side of that peak up there, at about 2,500 metres. Can't be much of it left now, it's pretty tiny, but it's still just about hanging on. It's pretty awesome that the valley pretty much points straight at an arrow direction towards Mont Blanc and my home in Chamonix as well. So yeah, pretty stunning, pretty amazing. As beautiful as it is up here, I can't hang around for too long because I plan to get down that side, all the way back up again before it gets too dark and cold. So yeah, tune in for part 2 of the video where I hopefully make it back up here again in a few hours time before freezing. But for now, see you in a few seconds at the bottom of the hill.